September 19th, 2014. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 56 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So we've had some fun at the casino the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been okay.
We went up a couple weeks ago to Harrah's Resort, and your dad was already up there.
Yeah, he couldn't wait for us to take him.
Yeah, so he went up on the bus.
He went up on the bus earlier in the day.
He took his walker with him, but not his scooter.
Right.
So the plan was, you and I were going to drive up with his scooter.
Right.
Then he'd have his scooter for a little while, and then we'd take him home.
Right, exactly.
Back to his car.
Yeah, it's just easier with the scooter, but he can't take it on the bus.
Right, yeah, exactly. So we took the scooter up, so we parked, and so I said, here, I'll drive the scooter in, right? So I'm and going in the elevator and everything. So I got down to the casino floor, and I turned it on full blast.
And you just took off.
I took off, and I went all around the pit, all around all the tables, and I was going as fast as I can, and I had my hand up, and I'm waving to everybody, and one of the pit bosses, hey, there's Mark! And I'm going so fast, I almost rolled it. I was up on two wheels.
I was going to say, you're lucky you didn't roll that thing.
But I'm waving, hi! That was good. Then finally found your dad, and he took over.
He took his scooter, and I took his walker back to the car. I always love that.
Yeah.
When I have to push the walker back to the car, I usually just hump over like him and push it out to the car. Like, that poor guy.
Well, at least he's getting out.
Yeah, he's out.
Because he doesn't look that old.
Those 55-year-olds need to get out every once in a while.
Now, there was something interesting this last week when we went up. You actually went up with your wife first.
Right.
Because you were going to a concert.
We were going to a concert, so we got there early to get our tickets.
Yeah. So when I got up there and met you, you were at a table that was packed. It was actually doing pretty well.
It was doing very well.
I couldn't get in.
So we played almost 3 hours on that table, and we never got off the one side.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, the dice didn't make it to the other side of the table.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I had to go to a different table, so I was playing on my table and losing. But while you were there, a shooter...
The last shooter before we had to leave to go to the concert. I mean, we were pressed for time.
Yeah. He rolled 9 fours.
9 fours.
Before 7ing out, right? And he only made 1 point, if I recall.
He made 1 point. He made like a 5 or something.
So I'm at the other table, and you're yelling over to me, another 4. Didn't he roll like 4 in a row or something?
He rolled 4 in a row at one point. All 3 won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he rolled a couple other numbers. Then he rolled a hard 4. And then I think after that, they were all easy 4s again.
Now, longtime listeners will remember a story that we told about how the same thing happened to us when we were at Caesar's Palace years ago.
Right.
9 4s before a 7.
Yeah.
And you and I were both on the 4 from the beginning. We bought it for $25.
Yep.
And we pressed it every time until it got up to the max bet of $5,000.
Right.
And then it hit that 9th time. And it's the greatest crap story of our life.
Right. The two people, unfortunately, his point, he made a 5 or whatever, and then his point was like a 6.
Yeah.
I was inside every time. So usually if the point's 5, 6, 8, or 9, I just take the inside numbers, and I don't bother with the 4 and 10. Unless the point's a 4 or a 10, then I'm usually go inside, and I figure, well, I'm going inside, might as well take the other one too. So I go across, right?
Right.
So it would have been good for me had the point been 10.
Yeah, and then
I would have been on that 4.
Yeah. How much did you win on this guy winning the? How much did you win on the 4?
I won $0 on the 4. $0.
So another amazing story of the 4 coming up 9 times, but you never bet it.
I never bet it. I won $0, and so did my wife. She never bet it either. 2 people had it up to the house max, which is only $2,500.
$2,500, yeah. They must have gotten to that when it like on the 6th or 7th roll,
yeah,
right?
They did. Well, I know the one guy at one point he had a 400. He went to 800, and then he went to 16, and then he went to 25. Yeah. So it was like the 5th roll or something.
Yeah.
The one guy though, when it hit the first time at 25, collected and then went back down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Lowered it to like 900 or something like that, or 1,000 or something. Okay. So he hit the max only once.
But 2 people were at the max.
2 people were at the max. And a lot of other people, they were being less aggressive, and but they still had it up to several $100.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good roll. I wished I'd been on that 4.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Just right from the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. That's craps. So, sports betting. Looks like it's coming to New Jersey, or almost. Here's the deal. So you and I were surprised to find out that sports betting wasn't legal at the casinos in New Jersey.
You would think it
Atlantic
would
City.
be, right?
Yeah, especially for as long as casinos have been there.
Right.
Well, Atlantic City has been going through some troubles lately with a lot of casinos closing. So Chris Christie's administration announced that they would not hold casinos civilly or criminally liable by state law enforcement agencies for offering sports betting. Okay.
This is the new thing with politicians. They announce that they're not going to enforce the law.
That's basically it.
This has happened quite a few times.
There's a federal law against sports betting, but the administration is basically saying, well, we're not going to come after you if you do it, right?
Yeah.
So there are no casinos right now that are offering sports betting, and I think they're going to tread pretty lightly to kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's just his administration saying that. What about when the FBI knocks on the door?
Exactly right. So maybe it'll come some experts. I don't know who these experts are. And as you know, I'm not a lawyer. I think I've mentioned that on the show before. You've mentioned that before.
Yeah. I'm still not sure.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
It's the truth.
If they do start allowing sports betting, they won't take bets on any games taking place in New Jersey or any teams from New Jersey playing somewhere else, like college teams playing somewhere else. Okay. I think that was,
so like if the Giants, I guess the New York Giants they actually play in New Jersey, and the New York Jets, you couldn't bet on them.
Oh, I wish they'd change their names. Yeah, don't you wish they'd change their names to the New Jersey?
Just make it easy.
New Jersey,
New Jersey Giants, New Jersey Jets.
It's like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, right?
Right.
It's so stupid. It's not even in the county of LA.
Yeah, it's not even close to the county of LA.
Well, anyway, so sports betting might be coming to New Jersey, but don't expect it.
Well,
in the casino
says here
right
in your
away.
Little thing here, it says the move was intended to reassure those facilities that they can offer wagering without fear of state reprisal.
Yeah.
Well, without state reprisal.
Yeah.
But what do you get from the feds?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Just make it legal everywhere.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. You have the lottery in every state, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And you can run it like a lottery type thing.
Yeah.
Right? Where it would be above board and everything. I don't know. People worry about fixing games.
Yeah.
And there's always that worry.
I'm sure it's always
there's that worry in Vegas too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody has enough clout, they can fix a game and go to Vegas and bet a bunch of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so.
So, I don't know. It's hard to fix games now, too, because a player makes $10 million a year. What do you offer him?
But what about the officials, right? Like that NBA official, right? That's a different story, right?
Easier to fix.
Yeah.
So they'll just start paying him $10 million a year.
That's a good idea. Well, I hope this does come. New Jersey needs it. Atlantic City specifically needs it.
Oh, God. Can you imagine how many people from like the New York, area would be going down to Atlantic City to make their football wagers for the weekend?
That's,
and
Atlantic
then gambling while they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great for them.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to our voicemail hotline. Remember, you can call our hotline anytime, leave us a message. Maybe we'll play it on the show. Our number is 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And we've got a couple calls from listener Taylor.
Hi, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Taylor from New Mexico. Actually, Dr. Taylor from New Mexico. So I was listening to the Tipping the Odds podcast, and they have Dr. Kev there. You have Dr. Mike there. The Vegas gang has Dr. Dave there. So I figured for the street cred, I'll start using the Dr. Taylor from now on. Anyway, I just walked from El Cortez to Main Street Station. There is no fire bet downtown. I didn't see it, which is sad, but we should plan on that. The only thing I saw was the Main Street Station at 20 times odds, so that's pretty good. Other than that, one thing that I did want to mention was at Golden Gate. I was playing Classic Golden Gate the other day. It was actually the day after I met you guys. So what happened was I had a come bet on 5, and I had been doing $5 fast line, $5 come bet, and double odds on all evening. And the dealer didn't ask me if I wanted the odds, so I didn't have the odds on the 5, and 5 was rolled, and the boxman basically said, "Oh, sorry, we didn't ask you to, we didn't remind you about the odds." And he just told the dealer, "Just give me $15." So I got $15 for not asking me if I wanted my double odds. So I thought that was really cool. So no fire bet, but we'll play craps anyway next month. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
See, that is so smart on the part of the casino.
Yeah,
right?
every casino should do that.
Yeah, and that's happened to us many times too, where we've forgotten to take the odds.
Oh, many times. I'm gabbing away and I forget to
right.
and the person rolls the point right back.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, if it's a long roll, you'll notice it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes it comes right back and you're like, oh, I forgot. They always, at Harris Ring anyway, they always pay my odds.
Yeah. And we never do it intentionally to see if, because I mean, really, if a 7 had come up, they wouldn't have, said, hey, you need to pay us the odds.
No.
It's basically
no,
free
and
money.
I would never do it intentionally.
No, of course not.
The other night, if you remember, we walked up to the table and I was getting my money and I was trying to pick it up before the guy shot and I forgot to make my two-way world bet.
Yes.
That I always make.
Yeah.
And 11 came up.
Yeah.
They paid me.
Yeah. See, I mean,
they paid me on that.
They know they're going to get your money.
Right.
It's just good business. Yeah.
Right.
They should always.
Well, they know I parlay it. So I just parlayed it. And the next roll, it didn't hit.
Yeah.
So they got me $30 anyway.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously if somebody's out there, and it's habitual, like they're doing it intentionally, that's one thing. It's happened many times. It's good business.
Well, it doesn't even happen to us every week.
No.
It's like once a month thing.
Oh, yeah.
But when it does, they always pay us. And that's the way casinos should be run.
Yeah, exactly.
Get rid of the 6-5 and treat the customers right.
Get rid of the 6-5 on the 6 to 5 on blackjack.
Yeah, get rid of stuff like that and just treat the customers right on the other games.
Exactly.
You'll be rich.
So no fire bets downtown. Somebody was telling us that at least for a while at Plaza or somewhere, they had a fire bet that paid on just 3 numbers.
Right.
But I guess they've gotten rid of them all downtown. Oh, well, that'll save us some money.
It'll save me quite a bit of money, actually. But I do like the fire bet.
Well, it's a fun bet. I mean, that's why, we always talk about it on the show and listeners always talk about it.
It's so fun when you've got the third number.
Yeah.
And you're just praying they can hit the 4th.
Yeah,
and then,
they go up on a 4th.
Inevitably, they repeat some number.
Yeah, right. So Dr. Taylor, we know for a fact that Taylor is a doctor.
Yes,
so he's
we
not
do.
just,
No.
you, Dr. Mike, Dr. Kev, Dr. Dave, Dr. Taylor. So good. We'll have to have a little.
All at the craps table at the same time.
Yeah, all the doctors. Yeah, send the
We'll see how that works.
Yeah, I'll call you Dr. Lee Harvey.
Yeah,
that's what everyone that goes. All right, give the dice to Dr. Lee Harvey. Just Dr. Harvey. That'll be it.
Harvey.
Right, you're shooting Dr.
No,
Harvey.
Dr. Harvey won't sound good. That could be your real name.
I'm gonna
Dr. Lee Harvey.
All right, Dr. Lee Harvey. I'm going to do that. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
All right. So Taylor left us another call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Dr. Taylor calling back. I just checked out the SLS and no fire bet. So anyway, one thing though, I think you guys should check it out. Is at Golden Nugget they have this little craft table it's actually inside the pool area, and it's manned by the young ladies in bikinis or a guy in polo shirt. And it's basically like half the size of a blackjack table. It fits 3 people on both sides, so it's 6 people maximum. And you just throw the dice to the other side. So, which is only like 5 feet away, right? So, all the same odds, as far as the bets go, and, all the same bets. It's just a plate on a small table. And, it's actually, I had a good time. Again, it's at the Golden Nugget pool. So, it's a good, afternoon kind of thing, I think. Anyway, you guys should check it out, next month. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that it's not in the pool.
Really?
One of those floating blackjack
You wouldn't
tables
do that?
I've seen. No, I'm not getting in the pool to
No,
play
even
craps.
with bikini dealers?
The bikini dealers, if it was just me and the bikini dealers, maybe. But nobody needs to see me in the pool.
That's
okay.
True. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully, it sounds all right.
That's going to be bad for business. I'd hate to see the Golden Nugget go out of business. People all over the country, you're not going to believe what we saw.
Oh, you got any good Vegas stories? Oh my God, let me tell you about the Gold Nugget Pool. This guy
And his butt.
So Taylor's talking about next month. So next month we are going to Vegas. We're going to go there during VIMF.
Right.
And we're going to be staying probably at Golden Nugget for a couple of days.
Yep, probably.
And then SLS for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, a couple of nights, I should say. So that's going to be part of the Vegas Internet Mafia Family Picnic. And we have a craps meetup that's officially scheduled now for 12 noon on Friday, October 17th at the D in their little craps area. Apparently, they only have like 2 tables.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we weren't able to make a reservation or anything. We wouldn't want to exclude anybody anyway. But I've been corresponding with Barry, who runs the Craps Facebook page. And I'm surprised we haven't mentioned this before. This is a great Facebook group if you want to join. It's Craps with an exclamation point. That's the Facebook group. And Barry runs it. And he had some insiders at the D, and he was kind of checking with them. Yeah, he couldn't make a reservation, but every day at the D at noon, they have Craps lessons.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll just descend on the D.
We'll get a lesson.
We'll get a lesson. Okay. We'll correct whoever's teaching us.
Right.
And then we'll just descend on, when the lesson's over, I'll descend on the table and we'll just start.
Yeah. Gosh, is it one of those ones where they give you a lesson, then they give you like $5 or something to get started?
We should go up and just, now how does this work?
Yeah.
And just let them go through the whole spiel, right? And then, so here's $5. Go ahead and make your first bet. Okay. And you can just kind of gingerly put it on the pass line. And then when the dice get pushed to you, just say, all right, give me a three-way.
I'll take
three-way 7 and a two-way
I'll take
whirl.
a two-way whirl.
So that's noon on Friday. Oh, and we want to thank the Vegas Gang podcast too, because on their latest episode that just came out yesterday, they gave a shout out for our Craps event at noon. So we really appreciate that. I have a feeling we're going to have, we'll probably take over both tables. I think there are going to be a lot of people there who are going to take advantage of it. So if anybody's going to be at VIMF, again, on that weekend, the D, 12 noon, October 17th, Friday, Craps area. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think we'll make some numbers. I'll roll some numbers.
Hope we roll a few
I plan to see all of them.
Really?
All the numbers.
Do you think if we're there playing for a full 2 hours, do you think we'll see every single number?
No, probably not a 9.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
not a 9.
Not a 9.
9s don't come up that much. What'd you say? 5 comes up the most?
5's the most.
9 hardly at all?
Hardly at all.
Okay, good. I went up to Paula, which is one of the local casinos here in San Diego County recently. I was actually going up to get concert tickets, and I haven't been up there in years. When's the last time you were there?
Oh, gosh, maybe a couple years ago. My brother goes every week almost.
I think it's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice casino. It's big. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's nice. And the only reason we don't go, because
there's several reasons we don't go.
Yeah.
Number one, they don't have as much comp stuff.
No.
Although they do give more. My brother gets quite a bit of free play and stuff.
So it's more than most of the casinos.
It's more than most of the casinos. It's just not as much as Harrah's.
Yeah.
And number two, they don't have a fire bet.
Yes, they do.
They didn't.
Oh, okay.
They recently got one.
Because I was going to say, I was up
there.
Yeah,
they recently got one. Within the last 6 months, they've got a fire bet.
Right.
But we didn't go before because of that.
Okay.
I mean, that was kind of the reason. Plus, we don't like the way the craps is played.
Yeah. And let me tell you about how the craps is played. Because this is so funny to me. They've got a deck of cards, 36 cards, and printed on them are all the possible combinations on the dice.
Right.
So they're not typical
like
playing
a 1
cards.
to 1.
Yeah, it actually shows pictures of dice on there for all the possible combinations. So they put this in an automatic shuffle machine. They actually have 2 decks.
Right.
One red and one blue.
Okay.
Right? And they're in these shuffle machines. Okay. And they take the top card off the red deck and put it in a little red area there, and the top card off a blue deck and put it out in a blue area out on the felt without revealing what it is, right? They're face down. And then they give 2 dice to the shooter. There's a red die and a blue die. And they're shaped. If you looked at them real quick, you'd look, oh, okay, those are typical craps dice, casino dice. But if you look real closely, the red die has only 5s and 2s on it.
Right.
Okay. And the blue die has only 4s and 3s.
It's something out of Dungeons and Dragons or something.
So the player throws the dice.
Right.
Okay. And whichever die has the higher number on it.
Right.
that's the color card that gets turned over. So
Which makes absolutely no sense.
if the red die has the higher number, then they flip over the red card. If
Right.
the blue die has the higher number, they flip over the blue card, and then that's the roll.
Explain why that makes absolutely no sense at all.
Here's the stupid thing about this. The blue die is completely irrelevant. Because think about it. If the red die shows a 5,
Right.
it's going to be the higher of the two because there's only 4 and 3 on the other die.
Right.
If the red die shows a 2,
It's the lower.
it's the lower.
So the blue's the higher.
So the blue, the 3 and the 4 and the blue mean nothing.
Nothing,
You could just
right.
give a person a red die.
If a 5 comes up,
you turn the red
red-
card. If a 2 comes up, you.
So what they should do is make one die with a 5 and a 2 on it. The 5s being like red.
Yeah,
and
actually
the
paint 'em-
2s being blue. And it comes up, or just give them a die with a red and a blue on it, and they roll it whatever faces up is.
That's right. There's no numbers on them at all.
Yeah,
just a red.
why a number?
Whatever. It gives the person. It feels like they're in Las Vegas.
There's no
Throwing 2
1 or
dice.
6 or.
Yeah. I saw a couple other things there that were pretty interesting. Number 1, serve yourself soft drinks.
I love that.
Why doesn't every casino have this?
Well, a lot of them did.
I know Harris
Harris used to have it, and then they got rid of it. I don't know if people abuse that too much.
Maybe it gets dirty.
Maybe it's a sanitary thing, or maybe it's like people get one and don't drink it and throw it away, and they figure, we're just wasting soda here.
Maybe.
I don't know, but it's soda. It costs nothing.
Right. So I love that. Just being able to go up and, rather than wait for a
Right.
cocktail waitress or go
Get
to,
your own
their
drink.
food court and buy something. Oh, it's Saquon. It's Saquon. No, excuse me. Barona by us in their horse racing area. They've
They
got a
have the
self-serve.
self-serve,
So I wish every casino would have that. A couple other things I saw. I saw a roulette machine, a big roulette machine that could accommodate, like 5 or 6 people, right?
Okay.
And there was a roulette wheel in the middle, a real
roulette
wheel, and it spun a metal ball.
Did the ball drop from something onto the wheel?
It was a mechanical system where the ball would get shot out, and spin around and actually fall into, the slot on the
And then
roulette
how
wheel.
did they recover the ball?
Oh, it's pretty interesting. The whole wheel lifts up. And the ball kind of falls out into like some under area, like a pinball machine of would do, and then it lowers down again, and that's how the
shoots
ball
out
gets
again.
returned.
Oh, that's
so.
cool.
I guess they can, in California, you can't have real roulette.
Right.
It has to be card based. But I guess since this is a machine,
Right. It's like a slot machine, right?
They can get. So I thought that was interesting. They had a big machine.
Yeah. So why don't they have craps machines?
Oh, I guess they could. I don't know. That's a good question. Like those big Pop-O-Matic ones that they have in Las Vegas. They might be able to get away with that, I guess.
Oh, sure. Right. It's just like it's the same principle.
You're right. If they're using roulette, I don't know. Now the manual roulette table was kind of stupid like craps. They had a deck of cards, again, all representing all the possible 38 numbers on a roulette wheel, right?
Okay.
And he would take the dealer would take the top 4 cards off this deck and put them into colored rectangles on the felt. There's like a red rectangle and a blue one, a gold one, and a black one, or whatever. And then he'd spin a ball, real roulette wheel, spin a ball, and those 4 colors were the only things in the roulette wheel. There were no numbers or anything.
Equal amounts of the colors?
Yeah. So I don't think it was a real roulette wheel. It was something divided by 4. There's something where there's a multiple of 4.
So they could have went around the table and just, you pick a color the next time.
Yeah.
You just
that would be just as legitimate. Yeah, exactly. Right. So whatever color the ball fell into, that's the card they flipped over, and then that was the number like that. So that's how they got away with that. I took a quick look at.
I couldn't sleep at night if I had to come up with these different scenarios to deal this. My mind would race.
If I came up with something like that, though, I'd be embarrassed. Make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, make it. Well, who's the idiot who came up with the 3 and the 4 on one and the 5 and the 2 on the other? Why not make like it 3 and 5 and 2 and 4?
Yeah, right, exactly. Where it actually could make a difference.
Where it actually could make a difference.
Why didn't they do that? Oh,
it's because they had a 3rd grader do it.
I looked around a little bit more. I took a look at the video poker. It looked like $1 and up. They were pretty good. There was like full pay jacks or better. It was like 9-6 jacks. On the last episode when I was editing, every time we talked about video poker, we said 9 to 6. We never said 9-6.
We said 9.
We said 9-2-6,
yeah.
which is
because
doesn't mean anything.
We're so ingrained talking about odds on a craps table.
I know, yeah, exactly. But
yeah, 9-6.
They had 9-6 Jack or better. They had full pay bonus poker, but that was only at the dollar label. When you went down to the quarters, it went down. Yeah. So, but then I looked around, but I thought it was really nice. Yeah, the only reason I wouldn't really continue to go there is because we get more comps at Harrah's.
Yeah, we get a lot more.
Because the drive is about the same. It's a little longer in mileage, but the drive time
it's
is
more
the same.
Highway time.
Yeah,
we're going to play wherever we are, whatever casino we are. We're going to basically play the same and play the same game and stuff. It's just that one's going to give us a lot of comps, and the other one's not going to give us as much. So, where are we going to go? Well, we're going to go to the one with a lot of comps.
And it's no brainer. And it just, I know we're beating a dead horse here, but the other nice thing is it's Caesars Entertainment. So we can take these comps to Vegas.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Lion Share Machine. We're not done talking about it. Tim and Michelle over at 500 might have said we're never talking about it again. But we wanted to say one more thing. The Lion Share Machine finally hit at MGM Grand, and Edge Vegas reported that they did indeed send the machine home with the couple that won the $2.4 million, New Hampshire couple.
So you've got $2.4 million in the bank.
Yep.
You get to take the machine home and take money from your friends when they come over.
Yeah, exactly. Just set it up in your house.
It's like it never stops giving.
And get this. This is like unofficial, but apparently the guy didn't tip anybody when he won the 2.4. Nobody. I don't know if that's true. It's just a rumor that I heard.
Who would you tip?
Well, you tip the, cocktail waitress coming by. You tip the person that comes over.
Paid you. Right.
He gives you the check. I mean, there are plenty of people to tip.
Probably the first person who contacted me, whoever that was on the floor.
Yes.
I mean, not the big guy from upstairs that comes down and gives you a check.
You're right.
The first person who came over, here's $50,000. And you guys got $2.4 million.
That's true. 50,000 sounds reasonable.
50,000 would be reasonable, right? At least a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, at least. I mean, you and I would do at least a couple. It's $2.4 million after. all. But really, $100. I mean, if you're
$100, I'd feel embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to give a guy $100 when I made $2.4 million. I'd probably here's 20,000, right? Just 25,000. Take it.
Yeah. Well, you're good. I hope I'm around. I hope I'm the first person that comes up to you when you hit your big
Well,
flop.
you know what? And we've said this before. We would probably share it. I'd probably give some with whoever was with me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I won $2.4 million and it was you and I on a trip, I'd probably shoot, $20 your way.
Oh, and I would do the same. I appreciate that. Or pay for dinner.
Yeah, pay for dinner.
Yeah.
Get a comp dinner and let you eat with me.
Yeah. And then make me take care of the tip.
I'd give you at least like $500,000.
I hope that happens. Hey, we want to thank everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first. YouCanBetOnThat.com and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. Last week, we talked about a letter that we got from listener David, who was talking about Canadian casinos.
Right.
And
2 weeks ago.
What did I say, last week?
I said last week.
Well, obviously, we don't do this show every week. So if I ever say last week's episode or we'll see you next week, just let it go. Okay. All right?
Well, we could have been talking about it last week, too.
We could, yeah, it's
you and I could have been.
You and I. Yeah, hey, Mike, you and I were talking about
like
this.
3 a.m. Yeah, remember that guy who called from Canada? I love Canada. Well, good night.
He was telling us about Canadian casinos and how they kind of differ from casinos here in the United States. And he was talking about some of the entrances to the casinos, and we misinterpreted one of the things he said about them. They do have security at all of the entrances.
Okay.
But the security doesn't check everybody's ID. They'll check ID if somebody looks young or if there's some other suspicious reason.
Yeah.
So they don't check everybody, but at least they do have security at every entrance.
I'll tell you a funny story about checking ID.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I've been working on a patient who is a retired San Diego police officer.
Okay.
He retired as a lieutenant. Now, this guy's now like 75 years old. And he was telling me, this is exactly how he started his sentence. He said, you know what pisses me off? And I'm like, what? He said, when they card me when I go to get a 6-pack of beer. He's a retired police officer.
He's in his 70s?
He's 75.
Who's carding him?
Everybody, because a lot of places have a blanket policy so that they don't
they're not discriminating.
They're not discriminating against anybody, or they some 40-year-old who might look 23 doesn't get pissed off. We just card everybody. Yeah. And he was so offended. He said, I've got to pull out my ID to buy a 6-pack of beer. I'm 75 years old. And, he looks like he's 75.
Yeah, right. It's not like, like he's flattered, right?
Yeah, like
well, here you go.
I was laughing. Well, in a casino, you could see that happening. I mean, there are plenty of women who look, I mean, I always think, they're like 23 and they're really
sure.
like 40.
Yeah, sure.
So you could see that happening.
Yeah. Well,
usually women are flattered.
God, I never get carded. Well, I guess I don't buy that much beer, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, well, we're not in a 7-Eleven buying too much alcohol.
That's true.
But, in the grocery store, they don't do that because they assume that the cashier is smart enough to know, if you're over 21.
Yeah, yeah. We wanted to talk about a bet on some craps tables. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this before. Yeah. It's not on very many tables, but the bets are all small, all tall, and all or nothing. I know they have it at Sam's Town.
Right. We played it there, and we played it at...
it was at Aria. I don't know if they still have it there or not. This was a few years
We
back.
hit it at Aria.
Exactly, yeah. Here's how it works. It basically just bets that numbers will come up before a 7. The all small bet is a bet that all the numbers lower than 7 will appear at least once before a 7. So in other words, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will all come up before a 7. Okay? That pays 35 for one. And they have an all tall that just works the other way, right? If the number's above 7. Yeah. If 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 all come up at least once before a 7, you get paid on that bet. 35 for one.
Right.
And the all or nothing is that every single number other than 7
Well, 7's eventually going to come up.
Well, it's eventually going to come up, but...
So it's basically all numbers.
All numbers other than 7 comes up before 7.
Yeah.
Right? All the numbers. That pays 175 for one.
Okay.
I think you hit like a small and a tall. You didn't hit all of them.
No, I think we hit several.
It was you and your dad.
It was more than one, but we hit several where it was like either all tall or all small. Yeah. I don't think we hit them all.
Okay. It's another fun bet that has a huge house edge, and doesn't come up that often. But, it's some people might find
Well,
it
know
fun.
what I like about that? Well, first of all, it's 3 bets. Because a lot of people bet all tall, all small, and all.
Yeah, right.
So you make you give them $15. You bet all 3.
That's pretty high. I think most people give them like $3 or $6.
I think when Aria was like $10.
It might have
You
been
could give them like $30 and take all 3 of them. Yeah. Which is I like to do, but. The nice thing about that is it makes the roll interesting, right?
Yeah, you're looking at things other than just the...
Right. Because you fire bet, you really don't get interested until you've already hit 3.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Even after 2, you're like still so far away from it, right? Yeah. At 3, you're kind of like piqued your interest. And definitely if you've made a 4th in the 5th one. But this one, if the first 2 rolls are like 8, 9... you're thinking, oh, come on, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah,
right?
really. There's only one left. Oh, we only need a 5 for the all small. Yeah, it's fun that way. Yeah, that is true. Again, it's a side bet, huge house edge. You shouldn't bet it, but if it's fun for you, please do.
Yeah, if that's what...
It's our disclaimer.
That's what gets you excited.
We got an email from listener Todd that I thought was pretty interesting. I'm just going to read it here. So he was walking by a dealer at Excalibur. He was walking by a blackjack table, and the dealer said, "Hi, want to play blackjack?" I looked and saw it was a $5 table, then asked, "What do you pay on blackjack?" All armed and ready with my response of, "Oh, sorry, I won't play 6 to 5 blackjack." Then she pointed at the sign and it's 3 to 2 right now. I almost did a double take, but was like, yeah, sure, 3 to 2, really, at $5? I said, wow, don't see many $5 tables paying 3 to 2. She pointed around to the empty pit and said, that's because it's pretty quiet right now. It'll go to 6 to 5 later in the day. Sure enough, in the busy evenings, it was at 6 to 5, at least on the $5 tables. So that's an email from Todd. What do you think about that? I'm not sure how to feel about this.
Yeah, in some ways you want to feel good, like, oh, okay, well,
good for them. They're at least, but
offering 3 to 2, but they're only doing it because they want someone to play.
Yeah, once the casino gets crowded, then they change.
It's the same. It just pisses me off. Have it all the time.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, how greedy do you have to be?
Yeah.
Because you're still going to win money.
Yeah.
Because people are still going to play poorly. Right?
Yep.
You're still going to have plenty of people play poorly. Sure, you might have some people who use perfect basic strategy and do well. Doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah, yep.
They can still lose.
Yeah.
You could even be counting cards, right? And still lose.
All right. Well, we've talked about this so much, 6 to 5, I know. But again, this I found interesting that they would actually change, depending on how crowded the casino was.
Now, if that had been you would have looked at it and said, 3-2 right now? That's great. But you do have 6 to 5 here, right? And when she said yes, and you would have just said, go to you-know-what, because I don't play at a casino that plays 6 to 5.
You take it out on the dealer?
Yeah, take it right out on her.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then give her a tip.
Oh, good. Yeah. How much? 50,000?
$5.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, we got another email from listener Jim. Jim, we met up with in Atlantic City when we were there. We played a little Pai Gow tiles with him. Not to be
Up for my life.
Up for your life in Pai Gow tiles. Probably always will be.
Maybe always will be.
We had, listener Bill last week sent us 10 questions. So Jim sent us 11. Nice. 11 questions, he said. All right. So let's get to it. Question 1. You guys mentioned your longest casino session was at Sequan, 10 to 12 hours. That was when we were playing Pai Gow back in the old days. Pai Gow poker, I should say. Poker. What was the longest session you have ever played in a poker home game or tournament? And I don't think this answer is going to be all that interesting. It hasn't been that long. 6 hours.
6-7 hours, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, our home games have never gone... if they've gone into the wee hours, it's because we started late.
Right.
Like after midnight, after our shift
I think
or
for
something.
A home game, after you've played 4 or 5 hours, it's kind of like, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 hours. I'm sure we played 6 hours before.
And we've never played...
I know we have. We've started at like 7, and I know we played, well past 1 to 2.
Yeah. And then as far as tournaments go, I've only played in one... Believe it or not, one casino, well, I shouldn't say that, one casino tournament that I had to pay for.
That you had to pay for.
Yeah, we've had some that were comped.
Right.
But even those, I was out fairly early, so I only played, 3 or 4 hours. And we've got a home game tournament that only goes about 6 hours, usually, maybe 7.
Yeah, if you go all the way, that you can be there 7, maybe 8 hours.
Yeah, so sorry, not a very good, interesting answer. Question 2, regarding player-banked games in California casinos, what is the largest dollar amount you have banked in any one round or against any single player? Now, this is really a question for the old days when we used to play Pai Gow poker and the casinos couldn't bank the games. The players had to bank them. And we would bank quite often. Right?
4,000 maybe.
That much?
Yeah.
You think so? Oh, okay. I thought maybe 1,000 or 1,500, but you think it was
I think Paul and I had got up to some.
So 4,000.
Maybe.
And that was banking. That was
banking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that wasn't. And that might have been combined with a couple of people,
Okay. Yes.
Where we had a $4,000 bank.
And those were actually pretty good days because the bank had to pay $2, no matter how much was in the bank.
Right.
It was $2 commission to the house to bank.
So you could have a $10 bank or a $10,000 bank. You paid $2.
Whereas the players, they had to pay, what was it, $1 for every 100?
$1 for every 100. I think it was a quarter. It was 25 cents for $25.
And
then when it got to 100, it was $1, and then everything after $1, it was like another $1.
Okay, so if a player wanted to bet 4,000, wasn't banking, it'd be $40.
Yeah, it'd be $40.
Yeah, those were interesting times. We might have been cheated.
Oh, I'm sure we would.
I don't know if I want to go back to those days.
Well, remember there were 2 guys that banked real regularly. Came with large sums of money.
Yes.
They'd come with like a $50,000 bankroll and just throw it down and say, I'll bank every hand. Yeah. And the other players were happy with that.
Yeah,
they were like, fine, because they were covered. Yeah. Because there were so many times that you weren't covered that the bank had $300 in it and the bet on the table was maybe, 1,000.
Yeah.
And so you had to be first action or hope the guy in front of you pushed so you could get paid.
Hand, yeah. Sometimes
you'd have a losing hand and you didn't get to you and you were lucky.
What we're saying here is that sometimes the bank could not cover all the bets on the table and the casino wouldn't pick up the extra. They couldn't by law.
Right.
So if the bank ran out of money I won't go into the details because it's a little complicated, but if the bank had seen action on its total amount, nobody else, left in the game would get paid or would lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So. Question 3. Have you ever fouled your hand in Pai Gow poker? Did you get a chance to reset your hand the house way?
Yes and no.
Yes. And Mike will never let me forget this
Yep.
because I was the one who fouled the hand.
Yeah, Mark fouled the hand.
Oh, man. I felt so bad.
And no, you don't get to reset it.
Yeah, here's the thing.
You just lose.
It was back, again, when you were the players were banking, right? So I looked at the hand. It was a good hand.
Yeah.
And I gave it to the dealer to look at, which was pretty common back on those days. You wanted to see what the house way was or whatever. And I didn't really need to give the dealer the hand.
No, you knew which way. That's why we laid into you.
I know.
Because you knew which way you should go.
I know.
Well, and we're like, why are you dicking around? He gives it to the dealer. The dealer sets it a certain way.
Yeah. So I take the cards back.
Right.
And I think that I've set it the way the dealer has shown.
Yeah.
But here's how bad my foul was. I had put 3 cards in the low hand
in the top.
And 4 in the back.
Right.
Okay, so it wasn't even a foul where, my 2-card hand was higher than my 5-card hand. No, I put the wrong number of cards in the spots.
And it was because you were dicking around.
And the thing is, we were pooling our money, right? So it wasn't just me fouling a hand, it was me fouling our hand, right?
Right.
And you were so mad, and rightfully so. And because it wasn't, I couldn't reset it because we weren't playing against the casino. If it had been nowadays where you're playing at the casino, they'd
let
set
you
it the
redo
house
it.
way.
Right.
But no, since
in those days it was against other players, so you it's like our rule with poker with the high-low declare.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and if you screw up, you got to live with it.
Yeah. So
Funny thing about that is we should tell a quick story about a guy, Clayton, who played poker with us occasionally.
Yeah.
And years ago, we would play quite a bit of Pai Gow. Somebody would, when it was their turn to deal, they would say, okay, I'm going to play Pai Gow.
Already laughing.
And we would, so I can't remember who was dealing, but somebody's like, here and play Pai Gow. And they turn over their hand. The dealer, everyone sets their hand. The dealer turns over his hand, and he's got Pai Gow.
He's got a bad hand.
He's got some crappy hand.
Yeah.
So he turns over the first person, he's paying. He turns over the second person, he's paying. He gets to this guy, Clayton, and he doesn't turn over his cards.
Yeah.
And he just kind of looks at Clayton, and Clayton just pushes his cards to him and says, I fouled.
I fouled. Well, wait, he knows he fouled?
He knows he fouled.
But they haven't turned up his cards. It's not like he turned it up and, oh, no, I fouled. When he looks at it, it's like, oh, I fouled.
So it's like he set him on foul on purpose. So the guy actually won his money. He just conceded, oh, I fouled. We laughed about that for years. It's just like, oh, I fouled.
This is the same Clayton who was dealing with us at a casino party, and he was dealing blackjack. And he was the dealer, right?
He was the dealer.
He turned over his cards, okay?
He was getting paid to do this, too.
12, 16, 18, 22, 27, 32. He just kept winning.
He went so far past 21. It was like 3 cards over.
It wasn't like, I shouldn't have taken a hit when I had 18. No, he just kept going.
Oh, he was quite a character.
It's interesting. All right, back to the questions. Question number 4. Have you ever co-banked with the house in Pai Gow Poker because you didn't have enough chips to cover all bets on the table? So we kind of answered this question.
Yeah,
we would co-bank often, and sometimes we still wouldn't have enough money to cover the table.
But there was a lot of money bet in those days.
Yeah.
Those were the days before the house covered, and there was way more money bet than there is now.
It's true. Yeah,
there was a lot of money.
Yeah. Question 5. What is the largest denomination casino chip you've ever colored up to? And I'll let you answer this because I think 5,000 is the most. Is that the most you've ever had?
5,000. I don't think I've colored up more than that.
Even when you hit all the, because we've never really had too much of a cash out. Yeah, it's got to be
cash
5,000.
out for 35,000. It was all in 5,000.
Yeah, they're not going to give you like a $25,000 chip and 2.
Yeah, no. I mean, a lot of weekends with $5,000 chips, but not very often.
All right. So not that interesting an answer. Sorry. We can't say we've ever cashed out for
$100,000 chip.
Like Question 6. In craps at a 5 times odds table, why is it almost universal that on a 15 pass line bet, you can take $125 odds on the 6 and 8 and $100 odds on the 5 and 9? So what he's asking is you're actually able to go more than the 5 times on this. And it is pretty typical, especially in Atlantic City.
You can push the house. They let you push them to a certain degree.
That's basically.
It's funny, but on 4 and 10, they're real strict.
Yeah. And if you have like $20 bet on the 6 or 8, they won't let you go up to the 125.
You can only
weird.
go to 100. 20, you can only go to 100.
Yeah, but 15, you go to 125. I don't have a good answer for you. It's
Yeah.
just, this is pretty common. They call it full 5 times odds.
Right,
Which
right.
is kind of a silly name because it's more.
full of craps, 5 times odds.
So, I mean, but this is actually a good question to ask. You know, if you're at a casino where they have 5 times
Yeah.
odds, I mean, ask them.
Well, you've
say, what's
heard-
the most I can put out on
Yeah,
this?
you've heard me all the time. Now, what's the most I can put?
Yeah, because maybe it's not what you think.
Yeah, it may not be what you think.
Yeah, yeah. All right, question 7. He calls it question big red. Suppose you buy in. This is a great question. Suppose you buy in at a craps table for $20. There is one other player and the casino is empty. You bet $10 on the don't pass. Shooter rolls a 4. You got me so far?
Yeah.
You bet $10 on the don't come. Shooter rolls a winning 4 right back.
So you lost your initial don't pass.
Yep, but your new don't come goes up to a 4, right? Shooter then colors up and leaves the table. You are out of money and you still have an active don't come bet. What happens next? Now, the reason he's asking is because there's a rule at the table
You
where
have to have a line bet in order to roll the dice.
yeah, you have to have a pass line bet or a don't pass bet in order to roll the dice. And now here's a situation where you're the only player at the table. You have an active don't come bet up there, but you don't have any more money. What happens? So I actually asked one of the dealers up at Harris this last weekend.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
They let him shoot.
Matthew, they let him shoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. What other choice?
I mean,
do
what
they
other
have?
choice would they have if
Yeah.
there was nobody there?
Yeah, they let him shoot. And
You
he,
just have to wait. You're, and they're playing the Jeopardy music. You're waiting. Please, somebody, come on, make a bet
just
here.
come over. And he said it does happen. You know, maybe once a month. You know, something
I'm
like
sure
that.
in the
Yeah.
early mornings or you know, like 9 o'clock in the morning or something when they first open, there's one player.
Yep. Question 8. Mark mentioned some new craps bets he would like to see on the layout. Would you guys bet any of the following? So he listed some, potential new craps wagers, right?
Yeah.
So see what you think of these. Place the easy 6. That's the one that I was talking about, right? It's an easy 6 instead of a hard 6. It pays 3-2. So it would lose if a hard 6 or any 7 comes up. It would win if an easy 6 comes
I like
up.
that
Nothing
it pays
else matters.
3-2. Too big a house edge.
It turns out it's the same house edge as making it. If it paid 3-2, it'd be the same house edge as a hard 6, which is a little over 9%. Would you bet that?
Yeah, I probably would because it was
of the
new.
3-2 payout.
Because the 3-2, I'd probably bet.
Okay.
it.
Place the easy 4.
Yeah, that I'd bet.
Pays 3-1.
Yeah.
That sounds better, right? Then pays 3-1 on that. Again, though, huge house edge.
Right.
Just like the hard 4.
It's like a hard 4.
Yeah.
Right.
But that does seem more appealing, right?
Right.
Because
because it's
an
3-1.
easy 3-1, yeah. As opposed to just 2-1 on a buy.
Especially for me, because I probably got a hard 4 bet and it never comes up, right?
That's right.
So I'm like, oh, well, I'll win on the 3-1 anyway.
Yeah. Any pair hop bet. Aces through box cards. So in other words, not just the typical hard ways, but also aces and 12s. A 12.
So it pays 9-2 is what he's saying?
Pays 9-2.
4.5 to 1.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I put a note down here. I think if they actually had that on the table. Now, Jim is suggesting it pays 9-2, but I bet it would pay 4-1.
Right.
Because they're the same number of combinations as a 7.
Right.
There's 6 ways to roll a pair.
Right. So it'd probably pay like any 7.
Any 7 pays 4-1.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So that would be. So
yeah, that's probably what it would pay.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd make that bet. Even at 9-2, I don't know.
No.
But, yeah.
Single roll bet, too. Yeah, probably wouldn't make it.
Yeah, I don't know. The what took you so long bet.
This I love.
You said you like this, okay?
I like this.
That's where you make the bet on the come out. The shooter establishes a point and then immediately rolls the point back on the very next roll. So it would lose if the first roll was not a point number.
Right. If it was
craps or 7 or 11.
Craps or 7-11.
Right. And if you established a point, say a 6, and the very next number was a 6, then this would pay 12-1.
Yeah, I'd bet that. I'd bet
you?
$5 on it every time.
Yeah. I would too, because I did the math, and it's actually
See,
positive EV.
Yeah.
Yeah, this actually happens more than 1 in 13 times. So yeah. So I don't know, Jim, if you did the math on this, but I did it 2 different ways to make sure I wasn't messing up. It's a very slight edge, like 0.3%.
Well, when I saw that, I knew it was close when I saw the 12-1.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I've got to, of course I'd make that bet.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of a fun one. Yeah. So.
And since 9's the natural right back number, you'd pray for a 9.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
first
You'd
roll.
hope that,
And then
yeah.
it's a sure win.
Yeah, sure win. Now, weren't you earlier in the podcast saying that 9 was the least common
You must have misunderstood that.
Maybe I misheard.
Maybe you're not an attorney, so you don't pay enough attention.
That's true.
To
Yeah,
things.
I'll have to listen when I'm editing the show.
Figure it out.
All right. The 4 of a kind bet, and this he said would only be at a California casino, like Harrah's, where they turn over cards based on what dice are rolled. Rolled dice are any pair, and the turned over cards are the same pair. Pays 196 to 1.
I would not bet that.
No, that doesn't come up too often.
I mean, you know how many times we've seen that?
Yeah, it's not very often.
It's definitely not a 1 out of every 196.
No,
I'll tell
it's
you that.
I worked it out. It's like 1 in 216, which doesn't seem like it's much different, but it's an 8% house edge, and the chance of winning it are pretty slim.
Yeah, and it's a single roll bet, so you'd be putting a ton of money out.
When would you want to do it?
I think we go seriously now this weekend when we go to Harrah's. Let's watch for that.
Let's watch for not just pairs, but any time the dice come up and the cards are the same as the dice.
Right.
Because that doesn't even come up that often.
That doesn't
right?
even come up that often, no.
Yeah. All right. Question 9. When you shoot the dice off the table, do you request same dice or new dice? Does it change things if one of the dice goes bloop and bounces into a woman's bosom?
I'll answer this one.
All right.
First of all, if one die goes off,
Yeah.
I just tell them to give me another die.
As I do.
At Harrah's and Rincon, it's the red and green. So if the green one goes off, I say, give me the other green one. I'm not waiting for the same dice. I don't care how long I've been rolling.
No.
And then people, oh my God, you got to get the same dice. Big deal.
So the casino loves us. We want to keep the game moving.
Keep the game moving. The dice don't mean anything.
No.
It's me that matters. Right?
Yeah.
As far as if they go bloop and bounce into a woman's bosom, I don't know.
You wouldn't say same dice to see her try to get it out of her blouse?
To see her try and get it out. Or if they let you get it out, I'll get that. We'll run over
I
there.
got it.
I'll get it.
No, what's funny is we were playing years ago at the Four Queens, and we were there with my wife. And the shooter was at the other end of the table, and my wife was looking at this woman who had kind of a low-cut blouse, and she was thinking, boy, I wonder if the dice would ever go down that woman's blouse. And she was kind of looking at this woman. Meanwhile, the dice are coming our way, bloop, right into my wife's blouse. Yeah, it was right in there.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'd probably still want the game to keep going.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. Unless it was my wife, the dice were shooting towards us.
Yeah.
Then I would probably grab the die and say, here's the die back.
Now, you're focused at a table. I know you're focused, Question 10. Besides not mentioning the word 7, what are some of the strangest superstitions you have seen in a casino? Do you have any superstitions yourself? Besides balancing a drink on your head, which you did that one time.
Yeah.
Hot chocolate, I think.
Hot chocolate. Yeah. Dangerous. Yeah. I don't go for just any drink. I want it to be dangerous where I can get burned. I'll tell you what I like to do. I like to take a victory lap around all the craps pit if something good happens, with my hands up in the air.
Yeah.
Just woo! All the way around the craps pit.
It's so funny because we really honestly don't have any superstitions we really believe in, but we do go through rituals like it matters. We know it doesn't, but it's fun.
We do it for fun.
Yeah.
Remember, did we talk about this on the show?
I think I know what you're going to say.
When I was I was shooting the dice and I was having a good roll and I'd roll them and it took so long to pay all the prop bets and everything. Yeah. I just walked away from the table. Yeah. I mean, I'd walk like 10, 15 feet away and then walk back and I always got there way before the dice were set.
Yeah, they never had to wait for you.
One guy was so pissed off that I was leaving the table. Like it was bad luck if the shooter walked away from the table, right?
Have we seen other people do superstitions other than fiddling with the dice, which we see constantly?
Yeah, we see that constantly.
But anything else, I can't think of any.
Well, there's the people that cross themselves.
No, yeah, you do see that. Yeah,
and I go to church and pray it, but I'm still not going to cross. I don't know that God's really that concerned about my craps.
Like rubbing a bald person's head, or do you ever see anything like that? Or do you bet more on certain shooters?
I do. I do bet more on certain shooters.
It's funny because now, I'll have friends say, make sure you increase your bet when there's a cowboy shooting, right? A guy with a cowboy hat, right? Something like
I like to bet on my sister.
Okay, that's true.
I increase my bet on her because she always seems to have good rolls. Yeah. There are certain people out at Rincon that, for whatever reason, I always feel like they seem to consistently have decent rolls, so I will bet more on some of those people. It doesn't mean they always do. It's just that sometimes when they pick up the dice, I'm like, oh, Mr. Wynn, that guy rolled the fire bet in consecutive nights. He won all 6, so every time he rolls, I like to bet on him. It's silly superstition, but.
Yeah. All right. Question 11. Why does Dr. Mike and his dad encounter so much derriere in casinos? And listeners will know that, you're constantly seeing butts, often naked.
Yeah.
And when we were in Atlantic City, there was a sexy butt that was dancing in front of your dad the whole time that was distracting you.
You know what's funny is my wife was just saying this weekend, she said, God, we went to the casino. We went to a concert, a rock concert, and played in the casino for quite a while, stayed over, played the next day. Yeah. Didn't see any butt.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe things have changed.
I mean, we saw some girls dancing at the concert, but we didn't actually see their naked butt.
Yeah.
We did see one elderly lady with like boots up to her knees and a skirt that was so short that it didn't cover much. But we didn't actually see her butt. But my wife and I both commented that, a 75-year-old probably should not be wearing that.
Okay. All right. And then Jim told us a story. I didn't know this story because we had. Did you know this story?
Yeah, I remember. I was there.
Because I got after the elevator so fast.
You were out of there.
Witness it because you know me.
Mark's always shying away from confrontation.
Yeah, when it's something that's uncomfortable or just I'm out of
gone.
there. Yeah,
if there's a guy choking or anything happens like that, you're gone.
I'm out of there. So, do you want to tell this?
No, go ahead.
All right. So apparently, what happened? We were in Atlantic City. It was you, me. It was your brother, it was your dad, and Jim and Ed, a couple of our listeners. And we were at Caesar's Palace, and we wanted to just basically go down the boardwalk. And we were looking for a good way to get out of the casino. So we went to an elevator, and and your dad's in your scooter. So it's this big, it was a particularly heavy scooter.
Yeah, it was a casino scooter. So it was a big one.
Yeah.
Right. He has a smaller one.
So we all get into this elevator, and these two large women got in the elevator with us.
Hefty women.
Yeah, they were large.
Yeah.
And so we're in there and the doors try to close, but then the alarm goes off. Like, too much weight, right?
Right. And there was a lot of weight. We're not small either.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not huge, but we're not small.
So I'm out of there.
Yeah.
I was gone.
Mark just takes off.
So I don't even know the rest of this story till Jim was emailed it to us. But so apparently it's just buzzing and buzzing. And you guys all decide, there's another entrance that we can, let's get out of the elevator right now. There's another place that we can go.
There's another place. Christopher was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Because he was like, obviously, if one of these ladies just gets off, we'll be fine.
Yeah. So your dad is ready to back his scooter out, but the women are not moving.
Right. They're blocking the doorway.
Yeah.
We got on before them.
Yeah, exactly. So your dad says, well, come on, move it.
Yeah.
And one of the women, I guess, kind of leers at him.
Yeah, she gave him a dirty look.
And apparently the other woman wasn't just large, but had a very large backside. Baby got back.
Yeah.
And so your dad, I guess, zoomed out like he usually does.
He just steps on the gas no matter what.
And hit the butt. Yeah. Is that true?
Yep. Hit her right in the butt. He got a face full. We were all laughing so hard. Jim and my brother Christopher were just dying. I mean, they were just dying laughing.
We need to have a segment on this show that's just your dad, either him talking or stories about your dad.
You know how he is. He doesn't have patience for somebody who's not in a hurry to gamble, right? I mean, they're lollygagging around. He gets that. He sets his scooter. My wife and I laugh all the time. He sets that scooter on full blast. I mean, full blast. I'm always like, Dad, put it halfway. It still goes pretty fast. And you're in a casino with crowded people. No, full blast, and he cranks it up.
I know, because I was riding it, and full blast is it's fast. I could hardly control the thing.
It's like if you're running through a casino, and that's he's just getting from one table to the next.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to download our app for your mobile device. You'll get access to all our episodes, quick links to contact us via Twitter, Facebook, email, and our voicemail hotline. And you'll get bonus audio. On the bonus audio for this episode, we talk about mistakes that we and others have made at our poker home game. With our app, you'll also get TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. I update those listings every Wednesday using a program I wrote myself to search through all the raw American TV data. The bonus audio and the TV listings are only available on our app. To download it, go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and on the left-hand side of the page, click on the link that says how to download our app. We have a link for Android devices and another one for iPhones and iPads. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review for us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. Take us home, Dr. Mike.
All right, I got one thing to say, and this is kind of important. This is where we get to the serious part of this podcast.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Chris Christie,
Yeah.
if you want my vote for President of the United States, and he may or may not run,
Sure.
but if he wanted my vote, let sports betting go to Atlantic City.
Fight for it the whole way, yeah.
Fight for it the whole way.
And that's what he's doing. He's made his move.
So far he's doing that. And it'd be great because that would save Atlantic City, I think. And we would like to go there again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Someday. And, if it's gone or there get to be too few casinos, we probably won't ever go back.
Yeah.
But if it stays the same and there's casinos, and especially if there was sports betting, we'd probably go during NFL season.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be great to take like an October, November trip and bet some sports. And if you could get maybe those bikini dealers
in Atlantic City in November?
In November. That would be interesting.
Okay. You think Christie might have some pull as far as that goes?
Well, yeah, you've seen him.
Right.
Chris Christie and me, the pool together.
Oh, boy.
That'd be exciting.
That'd be a way to shut Atlantic City down.
Yeah, right. Keep him in the White House.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.